gonna give you, I think, maybe from about September to March. But who would start carrot from seed in March here in Florida? It's the same thing. Who would start carrots from seed in January here in Florida? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're already a subscriber or a viewer, welcome back. I'm CountryMarro. Today I'm going to be harvesting some of these vegetables from out this garden area. This is my in-grown garden area. It's much like a polytype where I grow everything on this side of the yard in-grown in some raised beds that are about 4-6 inches deep. These beds, they are not being disturbed in any way. I just went ahead, set these beds on top of the ground and added garden soil with rabbit manure, and that's it for these beds. So what I have keep these beds going really is just the rabbit manure that is providing nutrients for these beds, and rabbit urine also. But other than that, nothing much is being added to these beds, just simply watering and just maintaining these plants. So for most of these plants, I went ahead and harvest them throughout the holidays, and now the plants are more of leafy plants than producing. Even though I'm getting some large broccoli heads here, I'm going to get rid of the ones that I went ahead and cut back deeper over the holidays to harvest. So instead of keeping those plants, I'm just going to refresh them by putting in new plants to get more things throughout the spring months. So let's go ahead and get out a few of these. Today is the 6th of January, and this is what the garden is looking like here in Central Florida. And this should be the peak of our winter. We normally have our coolest days between the 1st and 2nd week of January. January is normally the coolest month in Florida. This is what the garden is looking like. It's quite a sunny day, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to just remove some of these plants. Before we move, this right here, this is a broccoli that has gone to seed, or it's flowering. Here we have some bee. So I'm leaving this one. It's keeping the good pollinators around. So I'm going to leave this one in the garden so that we can keep the bees, so that they know that here is somewhere that they are safe and that they can come to. For a start, we're going to harvest this broccoli right here, and then we're going to go ahead and just get rid of the plant, because now it's January, as I said, and we can go ahead, plant more broccolis to get a harvest before the end of the spring or before the warmer month comes. Down on this side, I harvested these. You can see right here. I went ahead, but we're getting more. I'm just going to take these smaller ones and then I'm going to do away with these plants, because the plants are getting much larger now than what the harvests are going to really be. So I'm just going to get rid of these plants. Then I'm going in with fresh brassicas. This is a large head of broccoli right here. Let me just cut it off and show you guys. This is not the proper tool, but since I'm removing a lot of these large plants, I'll be just using it throughout the garden. So this is a large head of broccoli. One more is here. This one is much smaller, and I'm gonna get it. So there we go. This is coming from one plant, and now we're just gonna be removing this plant in its entirety. So the beauty about these gardening techniques or method is that even when you're removing these plants, you're getting an harvest. This is what the plant is looking like. This is way too large for this garden. I'd rather to see more broccoli than leaves. So I'm just gonna get all of them on this one right here. We have some small heads. Some gardeners would suggest you leave these for them to mature, but when you have a plant like this, to leave these to mature for your spring months, it's not going to make a lot of sense. So you can harvest these put them together, get enough for a meal or even more than a meal, and then you do away with these plants. Go in with new seedlings and start all over for spring. But just remember, your broccolis won't last forever in the garden, so you have to take them out at some point, and that is what we're doing now. This is our next one, and I think this was my Christmas harvest. There you go, nothing is on it, only leaves now. Maybe some people eat the leaves. I'll be giving these to the chickens and rabbits. We have one hanging over in the pathway right here. I'm going to get rid of it also. Just as I get rid of it, I'm going to take you guys in a bit closer and show you guys what's happening down here also. Right here is where I just removed that broccoli from. And here is a cauliflower coming up. Maybe the seed got here or something, but this is definitely a cauliflower. This beside it right here looks like a purple cabbage. So these will get a chance to grow because those seedlings are coming up now for the spring months. I also have onions that were coming below. These will be getting more sunlight now. So it's just preparing now to get most of these stuff to grow so that we can get a harvest from them before the end of spring. We have a tomato plant here that is bearing on the ground. I'm going to get some support for this tomato plant. I'm just going to drive this stake beside it so that it can get some support. Then now I'm going to hold it up and take all these tomatoes off the ground because it has a few tomatoes on it, maybe about 4 or 6. These are the tomatoes that were on the ground. Now they're off the ground, so they should be free of disease. We have a few brown leaves which I can remove. You don't have to. Some people panic over them, but this is nothing in the cooler months. This is just how the plants may react in the cooler months. Sometimes it's not a fungus or anything. Sometimes it's just the cold temperatures that cause this to happen. So you can watch them and treat accordingly. This is another broccoli that needs to go. The thing with broccoli is that it takes up a lot of space, and after you get your harvest, most time it's best to just go away with them and plant new ones. So broccolis are not like these colored greens that I have here, where you can remove the leaves and the plant keeps growing and you can get bountiful harvest from it. Broccolis, cabbages are more like you can cut them and they will give you a second harvest, but it's not going to be as good as the first harvest. So for your colored greens, your lettuces, you can get multiple harvests from those by just removing the lower leaves, and they will continue to produce throughout your grow season. For your broccolis especially, and I must say this, especially fall, winter broccolis, go ahead and remove them for spring. Plant fresh broccolis for spring because spring is your shortest growing season if you're in a tropical or subtropical climate. If you're in a tropical or subtropical climate, what is going to be your longest growing season is fall to spring. Your spring is going to be like about 3.5 months, maybe 4 months if you get lucky. But once that heat comes in, if you're in a state like Florida or a climate like Florida or the Caribbean, you're doomed for most of these vegetable crops unless you're in a cooler part of those state or particular areas. I'm now going to remove these smaller broccolis just to add up with what I have in this container right here, and it's going to be a harvest. So I'm removing the plants and I'm taking all that is left on these plants right now, because these plants, they're really going to the animal, so they're not a waste. The thing with Florida and gardening in Florida and most tropical and subtropical areas, or zone I should say, is that fall is going to be your longest grow season, because you have fall, you have a very mild, short winter, and then you have spring. So things can turn over from fall to spring, and that gives you an edge with a long grow season. However, spring is going to be your shortest grow season for most of these classic vegetables, I should say. So if you're looking at your brassicas, what you want to do when you plant your fall brassicas, always replenish them in your winter months, or not even say your winter month, but early spring. So by replanting a fresh set of crop in January, what that will do, it will give me a much bigger spring harvest instead of going ahead and waiting on these to get large. On plants like these are going to take up a whole lot of energy. That's where a lot of gardeners start using synthetic fertilizer and all different type of chemical in their garden. If you want to beat all of that, you just have to work with the rhythm of the seasons and how your garden is reacting to it, and you should be good. So all the new things that I'm going to be planting for spring, they should be able to give me a harvest by end of April, early May. And then I'll be out again for the summer months, just planting warm season crops here in Florida. And not only warm season crop, but warm season crop that can deal with the pest load here in Florida. This is what I got from just removing a few broccoli plants from the garden, just cleaning up, making space for spring. And this is what I went in and got, not even with the intention of harvesting. The leaves have gone to the chickens. I'm going to be removing this plant also, and these leaves will be going to the rabbits. When doing your cleanup, if you have rabbits or chicken, any small farm animal that will eat the leaves, try not to do your cleanup all at once so that the leaves go to waste. Do it a day at a time, little by little, so that every time you remove something from the garden, it can go somewhere in a recycling process with the animal. Those went to the chickens. I'm going to be getting eggs from the chickens, and these leaves here, they are going to the rabbits over there. I'm going to be getting manure from the rabbits come this afternoon or tomorrow morning when I clean up. So just take your time, don't pressure yourself when you're going through. Do it little by little, a bed at a time, a row at a time, and let it be fun. So if you have brassicas like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbages, because as I said, some people go ahead, cut the cabbage and it will bear more on it. Leave that technique for end of spring. So that's your hold on to technique that you're going to leave for end of spring, so that you can get a little extension of harvesting from the garden. But for your fall garden, come winter time, move in, remove anything that's not producing properly. Just remove them and replant. I wouldn't say no, it's the best time to seed or to start a lot of things from seed here in Central Florida, but you can start a few things from seeds, and we're going to talk about that. So let me just give this to the rabbits and come back to you guys. All done. So yes, I know there are a lot of gardening gurus on the internet, and information is all over the place coming from different energy sources, and they can be incorrect deliberately or innocently. But what I'm going to say is, most of your crops that you'll be planting in springtime, they should have already been seeded if those are things that you're going to start indoors to take outdoors. Most of them should have been already starting in trays already. For example, carrots. January is not the best time to start carrot from seeds if you're in Central Florida, anywhere in Florida. January is not the best time to be starting carrots from seed. So if you should Google or go to any one of your online resources and just type in when to start or best time to start carrots in Florida, it is going to give you a long time span, a long time period. It's going to give you, I think, maybe from about September to March. But who would start carrot from seed in March here in Florida? It's the same thing. Who would start carrots from seed in January here in Florida? It is going to be much more difficult for you to grow and get a harvest here. So yes, the seeds will germinate, the plant will grow, but the roots won't develop as good. So the best time for you to start your carrots from seed here in Central Florida or in Florida on a whole, it's going to be in your fall months. So you want to start your seeds about October, early October, November, even early December. But December is still kind of pushing it. With carrots, germination itself can take 1 to 3 weeks just for that process. And on average, carrots take about 80 to 120 days. Not that 80 to 90 days as the internet says. When you come in the real world, carrot is going to take you about 80 to 120 days to be ready. So that is 2.5 to 3 months carrots will take you, and they can be pushed even longer depending on the climate that they're in. So for us in a subtropical climate or people in tropical climates, when you plant your carrots in the cooler months, most time our cooler months is like a summer month elsewhere, our carrots are going to take up to 4 months to be ready. But just keep it between 3 and 4 months that your carrots are going to be taken to be ready. You want to harvest your carrots in a cooler time when those carrots are bursting with flavor. So why are you going to seed carrots in January if you're in Florida? Makes no sense. So just be careful of where you guys are getting information on gardening. That's all I'm going to say. Just be careful. These are my carrot beds and I'm still waiting on them. These need more time in ground. They have all the nutrient and potential to be bigger. So all I have to do is wait on them now. These carrots are still young. Look at them. They can go another 3 or 4 weeks in ground. So guys, what I'm telling you, it is not for entertainment purposes. You can look in my backyard. You guys have seen my garden. You have seen where I destroyed it and come back again with it just to show you guys, prove to you guys, to get the trust of you guys that I can do it. I know what I'm doing. I'm not guessing. I'm not running to the internet for information on the things I'm doing. I grew up in this lifestyle. So this is something that I'm just sharing with you guys here on the internet. Nothing too fancy, just simple backyard gardening. So that's going to be it from CountryMarro. God bless you all. See you in the next one. Have a blessed one and cheers.